The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world.
There's some parallels with the Sputnik moment, but then, taking it back from a more poli-sci perspective, I think no matter how much executive power I think President Donald Trump has, he got to consider domestic political pressures and the amount of geopolitical slack that he enjoys, right? So if he prioritizes economic nationalism, he's weaponizing AI as a rhetoric for China-U.S. competition, but then he might get some backlash from U.S. tech firms who's reliant on the global supply chain and tacit global cooperation. And talking about the Sputnik moment, even during the Cold War binary superpower competition between the Soviet Union and the United States, we see areas of collaboration. So the classic example of the Apollo-Soyuz mission. So that might, have some lessons for us today that no matter how intense the competition, there are always rooms for cooperation, right? But speaking of that, I think I'm also wary of drawing direct parallels or historical parallels. Today, we're not living in the Cold War era of the binary rivalry that, interdependence was not a thing back then. And now with the global supply chain and all the interdependence that we're seeing now, for example, the TSMC chips, I think just adds a layer of complexity to the story. I guess to wrap up my comment, I want to go back to the vast history of the global economic history during the pre-industrial age, before the Great Divergence. I think that lesson learned from there is that technological leadership shift, and there's no dominant center for tech hegemony. I think the rise of China's tech competition amid US tech dominance, I think, is something that is natural in historical progress because of various contingencies and context-specific realities. And I think the United States, in order to benefit humanity, needs to abandon that zero-sum mentality of always securing its hegemonic status in every sector.